Officially, the fourth installment of Spider-Man featuring Tom Holland has received the subtitle A Brand New Day. This announcement was made at the CinemaCon event, where studios showcase their new projects in the film industry and discuss plans for well-known franchises. Additionally, we have news about the third Spider-Verse animated film, as well as some quite controversial updates regarding Venom's fate, who may never appear in Marvel projects again. We will discuss all of this in the next few minutes. Let's start with the main point. As we expected, Spider-Man 4 will be based on one of the famous comic arcs from the early 2000s. For those who are not aware, A Brand New Day is somewhat of a reboot of the friendly neighborhood hero's story. It refers to the era when Spider-Man officially became an Avenger, and later revealed his true identity to the world during the Civil War. This led to Aunt May being shot by a hitman, and Peter and Mary Jane having to make a deal with Mephisto to save her life. The fourth Spider-Man film promises to be a fresh start for the character in the cinematic universe. The Demon demanded that the couple give up their love, as it is considered one of the most genuine and unique in the entire universe. This implies that in the rewritten reality, Peter and MJ did not get married, and a daughter named Mayday will never come to be. The plot of A Brand New Day begins after the deal is made, and it essentially represents a return to the roots. Spider-Man, as expected, fights crime while trying to manage his personal life. He encounters new foes such as Mr. Negative and anti-venom for the first time. This means that new viewers do not need to be familiar with the previous comic storylines. Interestingly, a similar situation is occurring with Spider-Man in the current cinematic universe. The hero was also forced to give up his relationship with MJ and essentially start life anew as an unknown guy. In the series Daredevil Born Again, it is mentioned that Spider-Man continues to battle criminals. Therefore, there is no doubt that in the fourth installment, Peter will be deeply involved in his adventures. We remind you that the director is Dustin Cretton, who also directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The original trilogy's writers will once again be the screenwriters. This creative alliance promises to deliver a Spider-Man story that no one has ever seen before, as well as bring a new level of production, possibly inspired by some techniques from the ideology of Andrew Garfield. Tom Holland also commented on the announcement, stating that the fourth installment will continue the twist left at the end of No Way Home. Moreover, the project will be unique in its own right, so it can officially be regarded as the start of a new trilogy that will last until the 2030s. However, we still have not received confirmation of when exactly the events of the film will take place. We know for sure that 2 months before the premiere, Avengers 5 will be released, in which the scale of events surpasses Thanos' snap by 1,000 times. This means that Spider-Man, being the studio's most popular hero, will inevitably have to deal with the consequences. All of this leads to the thought that the events of the fourth installment will occur either before or parallel to the plot of Avengers 5, much like what happened with the sequel to Ant-Man, which perfectly complemented the large-scale narrative with a small but important story. While the Avengers, including Thor, Hulk, and others, confront Doctor Doom, the friendly neighborhood hero is involved in a local storyline that could relate to a conflict with Kingpin, or villains like Scorpion, Shocker, and Chameleon. The second version suggests that the events of Spider-Man 4 will take place after Judgment Day. In this case, we assume that by the end of the crossover, the heroes will be unable to stop Doctor Doom, who will create a unified world under his control from the fragments of different universes. This brings to mind a leaked plot from Reddit, which states that the film starts with Peter finding himself in a world conquered by Victor. Due to Doctor Strange's spell, he is the only one who remembers what happened before. Therefore, using his knowledge, he will try to reassemble the Avengers and restore everything to how it was. However, this line of thought seems rather questionable, as the authors present the project as a fresh start for a friendly neighbor. Therefore, the plot should not revolve around something related to another element of the franchise. Moreover, Tom Holland's version has been criticized multiple times for its lack of independence and excessive reliance on the Avengers. Therefore, we bet that the film will focus on street-level themes. Additionally, the post-credits scene is expected to set the stage for Secret Wars. Interestingly, in 2026, the second season of the series Daredevil Born Again and a mini-film about the Punisher are also set to be released. Both projects are linked to a storyline where Kingpin becomes the mayor of New York and declares all street heroes illegal. Thus, we expect Spider-Man 4 to continue exploring this sandbox while telling its own unique story. Does this mean that Tom Holland might skip 2 parts of the Avengers? As an example, we can recall Hawkeye and Ant-Man, who missed Infinity War, but played a significant role in Endgame. Similarly, Spider-Man might skip the fifth Avengers film but play a vital role in the storyline of Secret Wars. We genuinely hope that the versions of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield will be used as Spider-Man for the Judgment Day. This would benefit everyone involved. For instance, the same fan base of Holland's Spider-Man, which desired a more independent hero and a personal level storyline, or Marvel Studios, which will gain action with Spider characters for Avengers 5, and of course Sony Pictures, which will offset losses from Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter through the crossover connections. If we set aside the theories, it is worth emphasizing that Marvel has moved away from the wordplay related to the home theme in the titles of Spider-Man films. The temptation to name the film something like A Brand New Home or Home with Green Goblins certainly existed to continue the tradition of naming Tom Holland's franchise. The decision to break away from this established system is an important step that was likely discussed at the highest levels within the studio. The choice to refresh the branding indirectly suggests that Marvel is indeed planning a new trilogy. Tom Holland is almost in his 30s now, and he is older than Andrew Garfield was when he played the new Spider-Man. It's no longer very viable to portray a schoolboy, and Holland has mentioned several times that he doesn't want to play Spider-Man after turning 30. There have been vague hints about passing the mantle to Miles Morales, moving into independent cinema and taking a break from Hollywood. In that case, it would make more sense for Marvel to stick with the old branding featuring Holmes, give Holland one last run, and end on 4 films whose titles would fit together nicely on a shelf. If a new saga about Spider-Man has begun, it means that there won't just be one film. Our hopes for 3 trilogies with Holland are still relevant. It would be wonderful to see a schoolboy in the first trilogy, an adult Spider-Man in the second, and a version akin to Tony Stark with his corporation in the third, just as it was in the comics. We hope this will happen. However, even with these exciting news, the buzz around Spider-Man hasn't quieted down. At CinemaCon, it was officially announced that the third installment of the animated Spider-Verse will be released in June 2027. According to the creators, the animated film will start exactly where the second part left off, meaning Miles Morales is imprisoned. The Spider team, led by Spider-Gwen, is trying to stop the Spot, while Miguel is doing everything to satisfy his ego. The creators also shared new footage featuring the original Miles and his sinister counterpart from Earth-42. The latter, judging by the previews, will become one of the characters in the film, which means there's little chance that the threat posed by the Spot will be dealt with in the first half of the film, while the second half will focus on the conflict between the two Miles. By the way, considering that the movie is being released after the Secret Wars, we shouldn't exclude the possibility of 3 versions of Spider-Man appearing here as well. Producers promise that the scale of the film will surpass everything we've seen before, so we can expect any surprises. Regardless, all the haters of the current saga can take comfort in the fact that these projects will close the multiverse arc and that we will be surprised by other themes going forward. The release of the animated film in 2027 might also mean that the potential 5th Spider-Man movie featuring Tom Holland will only see the light of day in 2028. Therefore, prepare for a huge amount of Spider-Man content. It could have been even more, as Tom Hardy confirmed that a crossover with his Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man was indeed being developed at Sony Pictures, but due to producer decisions, the idea was shelved. According to Hardy, the film was as close to realization as possible, and in 99 out of 100 cases, such advanced projects make it to the big screen. However, it didn't work out, and now we can only hope that the creators of new projects will take an interest in Eddie Brock. Fortunately, Hardy himself has indicated that he would happily return to this role for the sake of his children. We don't rule out the possibility of the actor returning, as the Marvel franchise has repeatedly shown that even if someone participates in a less successful film, there's always a chance to shine in a better light. Examples include Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool or Channing Tatum's Gambit. First of all, despite the failed Spider-Verse from Sony Pictures, the Venom trilogy turned out to be profitable and generated income for the studio. This is largely thanks to Tom Hardy, who, due to his charisma and charm, became a favorite of millions of viewers. Secondly, the cinematic universe itself creates excellent conditions for this. It's already clear to everyone that after Secret Wars, we will be facing a revamped world where unnecessary characters such as Ironheart or Captain Marvel might be removed. and completely new actors could be found for roles like Wolverine or Hulk. What we mean is that it wouldn't be difficult for producers to add Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock into the MCU, justifying it with a changed reality and other multiversal manipulations. In short, everything will depend solely on Kevin Feige and Sony's leadership. Let's keep our fingers crossed that they won't make any major missteps. That's about it for us. What do you think of the title and potential plot of Spider-Man 4? What storyline and villains are you most looking forward to? Do you believe in Tom Hardy's return as Venom? Until next time, friends.